Hi there, I'm going to provide you with 7 different things to help you homeschool your child, whether you're doing it over this period of confinement or whether you're doing it long term. Hi, my name is Rachèle DeMéo from Belle Terre Academy. I homeschooled my children for 3 years. And it was challenging because parallel to that, I was also teaching part-time at 2 local colleges. For a year now, they've been going to a school that we absolutely adore. When we found out that our children's school was closing, we realized we were back into the homeschool adventures. So I want to share things that have worked in our family and in other families as well. The first thing you want to do is you want to organize your schedule. Take a time to reflect and possibly jot down what this is going to look like. Will you start at a certain time or you will be more flexible? When I was homeschooling for 3 years, we did start at 8:30 and we were done at 2:33. Here, knowing that we are confined, I am more flexible about when we start. However, I have a list of subjects that we cover, so you might want to think about the different subjects that you are going to be teaching your children. For us, we start with math. Then, because I'm raising my kids bilingual, French and English, the way I was raised, then we jump into French. Then we do English. English does involve writing. It does involve different comprehension questions with a text, and then also reading. And we do reading both in English and in French. And then we jump into science, and then either history, geography, more science, possibly a little Italian. So you need to look at what subjects you are going to teach. Something also to consider as you're reflecting how you're going to organize yourself are the breaks. You want to know when you're going to take breaks. Is it going to be at a certain time? Is it going to be after you taught a certain subject? And then you may have to be flexible on those breaks depending on your child and if they cannot focus or they just need a break. And another component in all this are lunches. You need to figure out what's going to be an easy lunch for you, for your children. So maybe just be leftovers. That's what we do. It could possibly be something very simple. We have a little basket at home and I put the snacks for the day. I put the applesauce, some nuts. I put a cereal bar. Those are the snacks that they can have. And then, at lunch we've organized it so that I cook every dinner, but then at lunch we're eating leftovers or possibly just something very small like a sandwich or pasta. So that's the first step, is the organizing and figuring out how's this going to work. The second thing is you need to have the talk. What I did is I sat my family down and I said, you know what? We're in a period of confinement. This is how it's going to go. We're back to homeschooling, but it's different because we don't have a social life the way we did. We don't have all these appointments outside. We're home. So we're going to be more flexible than we did first time around for 3 years, but this is what we're going to incorporate. I also tried to bring some fun and creative ways to make them want to learn with me. This is a challenge for all of us, or some of you are rock star homeschool parents and I really admire you. However, for me it was a challenge, even if I am a teacher. And so those are just some things that you will have to discuss with your family and then be open to the responses they may have, the suggestions they may have, and of course, flexibility. The third thing is you're going to want to create a learning environment that is conducive to learning. I've taught many workshops at colleges and universities about how to best create a learning environment that helps students, your children, learn. I have a video on YouTube also that discusses this more in depth, but I'll summarize it in just a few words. You want to keep in mind, first of all, what work your children may be able to do independently and what work they're going to have to be guided or taught. So you'll have to look at the different subjects, exactly what possibly the school gave you, what they may be able to do by themselves, what you may have to really help them out with. But beyond all that, you need to look at certain things like colors. Colors can actually help you learn. And I'll list, like for instance, when I was homeschooling, I was really trying to create that best learning environment. I repainted my kitchen green and yellow because yellow is the color the most conducive to learning. So you may just have like a blanket that's yellow, pillows, but just seeing it visually can help. Blue is a color of productivity, and we have green that's more relaxing. Again, I have a video that talks about it much more in depth than what I'm just trying to summarize right now. The second color are the scents. So a warm scent like vanilla could be nice. You might think of that, but rosemary is actually the scent the most conducive to learning. So you might want to diffuse rosemary if you have an essential oil diffuser while your children are being homeschooled. Another thing to consider are the sounds that they are hearing. So an upbeat, positive, kind of like EDM techno music that's instrumental is also very motivating and energizing to learn. Nature sounds can also be relaxing if they have to somehow take a test or they have to do something that they just need to relax, and nature sounds may be well for them as well. Fourth of all, in creating this learning environment for them is you want to think, what is the best location for them? It could be the kitchen, for us it is. It could be an office. They may be in individual rooms or together. You might have to separate them at times, but you have to look at what is the best for them, what will keep them distraction free. Now, I will admit to you that my oldest son actually has ADD, and that has been obviously something we've had to consider as being, for instance, away from a window or far from possibly seeing people drop off packages or things that could possibly be distractions. So you can test it out if you're not sure, but just keep that in mind. The fourth thing is you want to really know your student, your students, your child, your children. So things to consider would be, first of all, their learning style. I have 2 videos on YouTube that talk immensely about learning styles and how they best help you and your children learn and retain what was learned. By knowing your learning style and knowing your children's learning style, you're not going to waste time when they have a preferred method in learning. So for instance, what that looks like, for my older son, I know he's a strong visual learner. So in his notebook, I'm highlighting things, I'm underlining things, I'm making little drawings, because the visual part is what's going to help him learn. Whereas my younger son, he's a very strong auditory learner. So when he's trying to spell a new word, for instance, or trying to get me to give him some instructions, I'm doing that verbally. I'm telling him how something is spelt, and I'm just saying it, versus my older one would have to write it after looking at how I wrote it. So there are many quizzes actually. If you just Google learning style quiz, that will tell you, and you can ask your children to take it by themselves, or depending on their age, go through it with them. And again, I have 2 videos that describe not only learning styles, but how it functions within a classroom. Second thing, you want to really analyze your children's personalities. Your personality is definitely going to affect learning, but also something that goes really hand in hand with that is the psychological need that is associated to that personality. I don't want to talk too much about the personality model, which you can research, process model communication. However, I will say that, for instance, my oldest, he has a great need for fun. So fun means that, first of all, he may jump on the trampoline and throw the ball to his brother and have that fun before he's ready to learn. And I need to respect that that's a need he has that will prepare him to be able to study. So knowing the different needs that your children have and the personality they have, if they're serious and focused and they want to feel accomplished, then maybe they need for you to check off every right thing that they did so that they feel that sense of accomplishment. So consider your child and your children's personalities and the need or needs that they may be associated with that. The fourth thing is the love language that could be also associated to a personality and a need. Know your children's love language. I know that with my youngest, all I have to do is give him a warm, big hug, and that is his love language. And my oldest, he has the words of affirmation. So by telling him, wow, you're doing such a good job, I'm so proud of you, that's going to reinforce the learning and the motivation and dedication to homeschooling. Of course, age and then gender can make a difference as well. So there will be a little bit more independence if your children are older, less independent if they're younger, so you may have to aid them more. But it really just depends the gender as well, because usually the boys tend to be a little bit more agitated, whereas girls can tend to focus a little bit more. But of course, those are things that really depend on your own individual students, your children. The fifth component is if you do homeschool and you do have to work possibly from home during the season, you need to look at what that's going to look like. Possibly you're doing your own work when your children are sleeping or napping if they still nap, but it could be in the evenings. If that doesn't work for you, maybe it's while they're doing their independent work. Possibly there are extra things that they can do, such as learning how to type, so that you can get work done while they learn how to type, or that they're taking a language course that could help you get some work done. Or possibly that's when they watch, 30 minutes of a show. And so organizing organizing it that way will help you. Giving them a sense of independence where they could be rewarded, like they do chores and they're rewarded by playing a game or whatever it is, could be a great way for you to get work done and kind of schedule it that way. And hopefully you have the help of a partner, of a spouse, to really aid you during this time. Sixth thing is really relax. It is challenging for most people that aren't used to it, that weren't used to it, but relax and realize it is for a season. I honestly pray every day that God gives me the strength to continue, and He has opened many doors, and many of this, going through my child's ADD for 7 years, it was quite challenging to have to navigate through how are we going to go through this while homeschooling for a season and now back homeschooling. So relax, take a break, take those breaks that you need. If you need that time, that solitude, which again some personalities need, then learn to take that solitude for yourself. Maybe if it's just closing your door and then just like relaxing that way. But relax and breathe, that's really important. Meditation possibly is important, praying is important, all that comes into play. The last seventh piece of advice I would give that could be fun, especially during this kind of confinement where your regular activities may be on hold, is to have some fun activities or themed days, themed nights. For instance, you might say, tonight's going to be our game night. Tonight's going to be s'more night. Tonight's going to be our family movie night. Tonight's going to be you guys dress up and you put a show for us, and then vice versa, and so on. You can have different themed days, different themed nights. Maybe one day they have to dress up somewhere or crazy. Everything that they may even possibly be doing at school, you could do it at home, where they have to wear crazy socks or crazy hair day or whatever it is. So if you make it fun and kind of lightweight, it's going to alleviate you and them. So those were just 7 tips that I could provide. I have a lot of courses on Belle Terre Academy to raise bilingual kids, to learn French. I have other things you may want to check out if you are interested, but I definitely hope that those 7 tips are useful for you.